Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/WampaSlayer. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, and more. That's audibletrial.com/WampaSlayer. Something I can't hear. Welcome, everyone, to the Trailer Park. My name is Dave.
My name is The Mike.
And this is the official movie podcast of WampaSlayer.com. Not only that, this is the OG WampaSlayer podcast. I'm pretty sure this is episode 23. Episode 22 was in 2016 at some point.
And we know what, we gotta start renaming them because remember we did that all the different
We
movie
had
names.
a good names. Well, you did the names.
I did.
That's what happened, and we didn't do a.
This was a little bit of a
fly by the pants.
Yeah.
And we're videotaping, so hello, YouTube audience, if you care.
You do.
You do, yeah. Leave a comment down there, all that good stuff.
Probably here-ish.
So, this is the official movie podcast of WampaSlayer.com. If you've listened to any of our old stuff, you know that we tried to structure it into movie news, and then we would break down a bunch of trailers, and then we'd do this discussion topic. But we thought we would relax a little bit, try some fun stuff. We've generally been the test podcast
Yes.
for a lot of new things.
Including today.
Including today, including the video podcast, the video cast. That just sounds like a normal thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
So let's do. There is something I wanted to talk about, and that is Phil Lord and Chris Miller, directors of the Lego
They've
movie.
been... Now, were they asked to step away, or did they step away?
Yeah, so they have stepped away from the Han Solo movie, the Han Solo movie,
The Han Solo movie.
yeah. And it was Kathleen Kennedy, who is the
Creative director of everything.
Yeah, head
Lucas,
of
right?
Lucasfilm, said that she doesn't like to use the term creative differences, but that in this case it does apply.
Yeah.
Now, Mike and I do not work for a movie studio.
No.
We are not insiders in any way. But we're going to wildly speculate about what this means for the future of this movie that's just started filming.
Right.
So tell me, from your point of view, from Transformers 5 to Ruined My Childhood, how terrible is this for this movie?
Oh, jeez. I didn't see Transformers 5, but it sounds like that ruined your childhood. But I don't know, because the movie hasn't even started filming, really, has it?
I've just seen promo photos,
Right,
so I
so-
guess I don't know.
I mean, I'm bummed. I'd say, like, in between those two things, I guess not really going to ruin my childhood. But I'm a little disappointed that they aren't going to stick with two directors who know how to do action and comedy well,
Right.
because I think that perfectly suits a Han Solo movie.
Yeah.
Action and comedy would be great.
Yeah, especially those individual characters and all that kind of stuff. This is not the first time that a Disney franchise has split ways with iconic directors. This goes back to Edgar Wright and Ant-Man.
And Ant-Man.
Again, saying that the movie doesn't fit their vision.
Well, and Edgar Wright even said he was not happy with what they wanted the movie to be.
Right. So I guess my question would be then, in this day and age of mega franchises, that you're planning a movie that has to be relevant for 20 more years or 10 more years or whatever. Are we ever going to get... So we always keep saying, oh, you know what would be really cool? You know, the Wes Anderson Spider-Man. Something ridiculous. We always envision this director's vision of a movie. Can that ever happen now? Because the studio's going to hold so firm to
Only
exactly
if
what
they
it was.
agree with... Only if the studio likes what they're doing.
All right.
It sounds like Kathleen Kennedy and the team at Lucasfilm did not like the direction. And honestly, that makes me speculate that knowing Lord and Miller, it might have been like a buddy cop thing spent in space.
Yeah.
With
Which would have been great.
I would have
Yeah.
my point exactly, because you've got two actors alone that I've seen do good comedic stuff with Donald Glover and Woody Harrelson.
Right.
I've never seen Alden Ehrenreich. in a
I
movie.
saw him in... What was the
That was
movie?
Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar, which was a strange movie, but he was really, really good in it.
I know Amelia Clark's going to be in this, so
Which,
I mean,
you know, always great.
But that's what I was thinking, because they did 21 Jump Street, so we know that they can
I've
do
still never
live
seen those
action, and
movies.
I think those movies are fantastic.
I've heard.
They can do live action,
Right.
because we all know that they did the Lego movie,
Yeah.
and that's amazing.
And that's
the
amazing
movie's
as well.
just incredible.
Right.
again, though, there's action. It's an action comedy. If you break it down, it's an action comedy.
They put together scenes very, very well. They know how to film action.
And they know each other.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
they work well together. Not too many teams. How many director teams do you really see out there besides like the Wachowskis
Right.
and stuff like that? So I was disappointed when I read that because I thought that we were going to get the buddy cop set in space kind of film.
Yeah, it's just, I guess
not cops, but
well, that's the best way to say.
They're about as far away from cops
Yeah.
as you can get in there.
I guess the other thing would be like the Tommy Boy in space, but one of them that isn't really dumb. I don't remember what the next thing I was going to say, but I guess it's just this idea that the big franchises. So Rogue One was pulled in for a huge amount of reshoots towards the end of its run. I guess we'll never know what those reshoots were. We were told that some said that this is a standard part of any movie, which it is. And then some says these were massive reshoots on the scale of what Justice League is going through right now. So I guess it's weird to see these things just.
Justice League's a little different story, though.
It is a little
given
bit,
the fact that Zack Snyder and his wife had to step away.
Well, let's perfectly segue into that. So I don't have a picture of this, and I should have. There were a lot of new set photos came out from the reshoots, which are still going on right now.
Yeah.
Or either that or they've just finished up. But it shows a big thing of the top of some arch thing that looks like what might be the Hall of Justice. So when they talk about reshoots are usually a line of dialogue didn't work because of a sound issue, or they've rewritten a section and they needed to kind of undo a plot and the line that they had didn't work. They don't usually build giant warehouse-sized sets, and it looks like there's multiples of those that Joss Whedon has put together.
That's pretty awesome.
So that is cool.
Yeah. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better person to come in and finish your movie.
I mean, especially though, it's not like I'm glad that it's not like Joss Whedon's been pulled in there because he's the Avengers guy. He was already set to do Batgirl.
Yeah.
He was already in this universe, on the staff for this. He was expected to be part of the pre-shoots when Zack Snyder was still going to be doing things. And then when he pulled away, he was the obvious choice. So,
well, and we know he has the chops to put together a good ensemble superhero movie. The first Avengers movie is still such a. I mean,
it's a beautifully put together movie.
It's a ground. If you think that is the groundbreaking movie in the current. I mean, obviously Iron Man started the genre, but I still think the Avengers broke the mold and said, "Here's a way to get 6 people on screen that are iconic characters, and it works."
Right.
And it works.
Right. I'm not saying I'm not excited for all these movies.
No, I'm very excited. When I saw Wonder Woman, I got the Justice League trailer, and seeing that on a big screen is so great.
Speaking of Justice League trailers, the new one is being set to. They said the next trailer will be coming out at Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con.
So that's this summer.
I think that's next month.
I think it's July generally.
Producer confirm.
End of July.
End of July. So, rolling on the superhero movies, I wanted to ask you this, and we might have an article coming out a little bit later. The person who I want to write it hasn't been told this yet. But 10 years ago in June, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. Next, like 2 weeks from now, will be the 6th solo Spider-Man movie.
And the 3rd Spider-Man.
And the 3rd Spider-Man in those 10 years. So this would be at the point of a franchise, Spider-Man 6, actor replaced twice, that you would think that this is the one that's as close to straight to DVD as you can think of. Obviously, we know that's not the case, and that these have ramped up. But my question is, because I don't know, because my Spider-Man has always been like a meh for me. I love the character and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just not been my favorite. How, like, if they want to start a brand new run of these Spider-Man movies, like, how can they just keep that going?
I think.
How? I mean, we're excited for the movie, but at what point are we going to go? And then there's this Spider-Man movie, and then now another Spider-Man movie.
I mean, yeah, because the MCU doesn't even officially have Spider-Man yet. He's still on loan from Sony,
Right.
So at some point if he does eventually become a part of the MCU, do they reboot it?
Right.
Again? Because the plans are to reboot. We already know that. They're not just going to end Phase 4 and be like, no, we're done making Marvel movies.
Right.
You're going to reboot Thor. You're going to reboot Iron Man with different storylines from the comics. There's so many of them.
Right.
I would love to see the Jane Foster Thor.
That would be really cool.
The Lady Thor would be
Interesting,
amazing. Because that was a cool was a cool little hook, and she still is Thor in the comics.
Right.
Thor still has not gained that back yet. In fact, he said, "No, you can use my name. You can use everything. You
Still
are
riding a goat with his axe,
yes."
which is just
And
the
then-
greatest
and he's
visual.
missing a hand because he had it cut off.
But yeah, I guess my big question, I guess, is, and I didn't want to really get into the shakeup of the MCU with this recent Sony news and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But with them planning a new universe and now insinuating that Tom Holland will star in a Sony-led Spider-Man movie that will be part of their own thing.
That seems like too much.
Right, at Spider-Man 7, when it's not a new Spider-Man, when it's not a new universe, I guess it depends on
And
how
it would be
good
the third
these-
time we'd see him.
Yeah,
'Cause
and
we've
I guess
got-
it depends on how good these other movies that they're plugging into on the side, which they don't have a great track record with that extra stuff. And when it comes to Spider-Man Homecoming 2 or Spider-Man 7, I mean, are we going to just sit there and go, oh yeah, there's this, like we somewhat get with the X-Men movies now. It's almost like, yeah, and there's another X-Men movie coming out this year too. So,
Yeah, but at least they put those back in the right hands with Bryan Singer
They
taking
did.
back over.
Mhm.
And I see, the thing is, I'm very excited for another one because if it goes to the 90s, that's my X-Men
the
genre.
Dark Phoenix stuff.
Well,
when they get
that
to
was
that
the
next year.
cartoon, the blue Cyclops suit and those outfits. I mean, that for me, that's where X-Men was, where I started in the 90s. So for me, I'm excited for that. But honestly, with Spider-Man, and I've always been I'm like you. I like the character. He's not my favorite.
I see this problem. I had friends who were way too into him. So not even Chris. Like some friends when I was growing up who was like, no, he's the greatest, and I'm going, he's not the greatest. So
And that's so subjective, anyway.
It's true.
Who's the greatest Marvel superhero? Whoever you think is.
right.
Or do we do it power? I mean, that's a whole different podcast.
We should bring that up. There we go. Sunday's Womp Slayer live question: who's the greatest superhero? We can get some fights that way.
Theoretically, it's the Hulk because no one knows
Right.
the extent of his full power.
So we want to do some fun stuff here too, because whatever, we're flying by the seat of our pants. So we talked about this on the Womp Slayer podcast 2 weeks ago, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure. But the Spider-Man Homecoming poster, which is Tony Stark featuring
Tony
Spider-Man.
Stark featuring Homecoming.
Right. And so it got me thinking about movie posters and how ridiculous sometimes they are and how awesome they can be and also how weird
Like I was
they can
telling you
be.
before we went to air, when I saw Wonder Woman at the theater by my house, the Last Jedi poster was so cool.
Yeah.
It was the split Luke and Kylo, and then Rey holding up a lightsaber that starts blue, and then at the top of the poster it starts going to white and fades into red. And I'm like, now that's a poster.
Right. So I think that a long time ago before and I'm speculating this, but studios must not have been that big into, I know international releases are a bigger deal now
Oh yeah.
than they used to be. So there are a couple movie posters that are really cool that other countries have made for movies that were American made, and they're so ridiculous. And so we have one that's going to show up right there. Look at that. So I want you, I already know, I couldn't make this work where I didn't know. I want you to tell me what you think this movie is about.
Should I even know? Is this an actual movie that?
Yes.
But like, and this is
It's
gonna be
a very popular movie.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
Is it out?
Yes.
Okay, so it is out.
Yes.
What I see is partially a rib cage, but it also is like a vascular system
Right.
with eyes.
Yeah, it was like half heart, weird brain.
I guess there could be a brain there, but
I don't know.
I see a rib cage. I see a rib cage, and I see
Right.
and eyeballs. That's just. You know what? It too much reminds me of that Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark with those really effed up drawings, which are still awesome.
So
I love 'em.
definitely horror, of course.
Horror.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So the movie's out right now.
The movie has been out for many, many years.
Oh, is that Friday the 13th?
No, it's not. Go ahead and hit
Is
the
that
next
Freddy?
one. So I don't know if any of those words trigger it out for you, but this is the poster in Poland for Alien. I don't know why. I hit the top because number one it says Sigourney Weaver and the other one it says Nostromo, which is the name of the ship. But this is the Alien poster, the original Alien poster when it was released in Poland. I don't know how you get Alien from that. Maybe somebody was taking some real.
Is that an egg sack?
I didn't know that, or maybe because that's a rib cage and a chest and eyes looking out of it. Somebody somebody.
chest burster. That's all you
Let's
can.
think in that thing. Okay, what's this movie about? I don't want to. I'm not going to do an accent because that's racist. But
They're
what's
Polish.
this movie about? Let's see. There's aliens. I guess that wouldn't have had to been brought up because you would.
Where's Alien in there?
I'm guessing that's OBCY. Does anybody speak Polish? Whatever that language is. I'm sure it's got a name.
I think pretty sure Poles speak Polish.
But yeah, it was just so ridiculous. There are so many more of these that are so hilarious and bad, and well, not bad. I mean, this is a really cool looking piece of art. It
Yeah.
doesn't in any way say alien to me.
Makes no sense.
No.
That's. Oh yeah, Ridley Scott.
Yeah, really. Yep. But there's a bunch of these, and we're gonna bring you one of those every week. That's my cool movie poster for the week.
OBCY is alien in Polish.
There you go. Obki. They are coming. That's not even a Polish accent. Well, that was Russian or
You're
something.
awful.
Yeah. Anyways,
It's the easiest one that you know.
we're called the Trailer Park because we love movie trailers, and a lot of times they end up being a good amount of times they end up being a lot better than the movie. Case in point. Well, never mind. I'll go on a rant in a minute. So you can go ahead and flip it off of this weird creature.
Yeah, that's too much.
It got closer.
Yeah,
That was
it
frightening.
zoomed back in.
Mike, do you have a trailer that you'd like to call out that you saw?
You know, yeah, it was one of the ones I saw before. Wonder Woman, which I saw a bunch of great trailers
Yep.
there. I saw the Valerian trailer again. I saw the extended Blade Runner trailer.
Yep.
Which was awesome. But this one, I'm gonna take a little step back from my typical. It's a movie starring Idris Elba and Kate Winslet, and both of them need to get on. Looks like I think Idris Elba's a doctor and Kate Winslet, not Blanchett. They're both great actors.
Yeah.
They're trying to get home respectively. I think one of them is a doctor, so he has to take care of patients, and the other one has like their kid to get to. Whatever, pretty typical story.
Right.
But they neither of them can get a plane, and it's a short flight. So Kate Winslet, I have an idea, and they go to like some little private hangar, getting some little like Cessna, and this guy's like, oh yeah, we can do that, and fly. Something happens, plane crashes, and then
I did see this movie. The more you're describing this, okay.
so then they crash, and the pilot's dead, and then they have only each other to survive. They're not like stranded on top of a mountain,
Right.
so they gotta obviously work their way down the mountain to get to safety. But I think better logic is to stay at the top of the mountain where people might see you. So it's that kind of like it's kind of a disaster movie. But the nice thing is I don't think there's gonna be any love interest there. 'Cause I think
like a thriller drama type deal.
yeah. What was that one? The Gray without
There you go.
punching wolves in the face. It looks like it's just more of a that you have to survive kind of thing, like a disaster movie without a major disaster, like a natural disaster. But it looks pretty powerful, and I love Idris Elba. So that right there, and I've always been a big fan of. I think Kate Winslet is I don't want to say underrated because she's won plenty of awards, but she's kind of a chameleon. Like she'll just show up in movies. You're like, oh, hey, Kate Winslet's in this movie.
You know what? And she was nominated for this, but she didn't win, unfortunately. But for Steve Jobs, she played his assistant, and she was Polish, and she was completely different from anything I'd ever seen her in. She talked so perfectly. It was amazing.
Yeah, you know what though? The Polish thing it makes. She was in a movie called The Reader.
Okay.
Where she was like a teacher or something, and she had. I don't know. I think she's pretty sure she had like an affair with like a younger person, but not necessarily like an illegal like they were 13 or 14. They were like 17 or 18.
Mm-hmm.
But she was. It was another. It was like she had a foreign accent. And you're like, this is Kate Winslet. Like, I think pretty sure she was even Polish. And again, she also has a habit of taking her top off in movies. I don't know if she did that in Steve Jobs, but
it just no, she did not in Steve Jobs.
Because in a lot of movies,
comes off.
she's well, that's the thing. That's the other thing about that's like an A tier actor, a tier A actor, who's very willing to be like, if if it calls for it, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, she reminds me of I knew her before I knew Tilda Swinton, but Tilda Swinton seems like that way at all, where they're actors that are just or Michael Fassbender, who are just a little bit less than Daniel Day-Lewis level crazy, but will just dive into a role, super examine it. Whatever the director says they think is going to be best, I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter what my reservations are. Just get in there and doing it. And she seems like she's
Speaking of Daniel Day-Lewis, you see now he's retiring
from
acting?
No. Maybe that's for a part though. Playing a
For
retired
him?
actor.
For him, it might be though. You never
He could be
know.
playing a retired actor. So, by the way, you talked about disaster movies, and I saw a trailer last night for a movie called Geostorm. You need to look this up. The tagline was something about when corporations control the weather, they control the world. And it was about this, like, they controlled the weather. They were stopping hurricanes, but then, like, setting tornadoes loose on New York. It looked like basically they said, like 2012 and San Andreas. Well, let's take the main characters out and just show everything exploding. But that
Who's
was not
in
the
it?
trailer. I don't know.
Oh,
In the
okay.
trailer, they showed some people's faces, but I didn't recognize them. But mine was Detroit. I can't remember when the first trailer came out, but I saw another one last night. It looks really, really good. I like the idea that a lot of it takes place in one spot. Because when you're telling a story like that, that's huge and that expands not only a big issue, but literally a large section of space.
We probably even talked about. I remember talking at least about when they announced that they were
Probably.
that Catherine Bigelow was signing on to direct this film.
Yeah,
which
but
was a big get for a movie like that.
right. I mean, it was really interesting. The tagline in the trailer I saw. The trailer was a little bit shorter than the big one that was released earlier. But it said it was Detroit. It's time everyone knew, or something like that. And it made me think about how, like, I only know, even though I live here, I only know about that because my wife's mother lived in Detroit in
Both
an
my
apartment,
parents.
and were sleeping, like, a bunch of them sleeping on mattresses with windows boarded and all that stuff closed because of how dangerous it was.
My parents were obviously alive then, and they lived in Detroit, but not near where the riots. They
Right.
weren't like in the epicenter, but they remember. I mean,
It's
they were
just-
10, so they remember
yeah,
that.
It's crazy, and it looks so good. I mean, John Boyega and anything,
Oh,
we're
of
excited
course.
to be. Not only because he's a Star Wars actor, because he's a really good actor.
Well, it looks like they're nailing like that. Like I really love it when you see it in movies. Like it looks like it was made in 1967.
They
Like,
use that whatever that
filter, whatever. I don't even.
Yeah,
know.
sometimes they even go as crazy. Like, I know, it is one of my favorite movies, so I'm gonna always bring it up. It's not in the loop, but it's
Not in the loop.
in Steve Jobs. When they did the first one that happened in the late '80s, then the mid '90s, or early '80s, late '80s, and the mid '90s. They used the cameras that would have filmed in that time.
Tarantino does
So
a
they
lot of
have
stuff
that,
like
of
that
course,
too, where
yeah.
he'll film on old types of film. And
But
all
just that idea, when they showed John Boyega walking up to he's obviously a police officer, and walking up to the National Guard to bring him coffee, and then they were asking for other stuff, and he says, "Don't push it," kind of thing, where nobody was. I mean, just because they're police doesn't mean they're not gonna stand with somebody else and all that. It was a very, very interesting, interesting.
That was a
look
pretty.
at it.
That was a huge turning point in the city too. You can.
Yeah.
That's a big chunk of history right there.
So
That's
is,
when things started to really get.
But that is definitely one to take a look out. We do have our feature trailer of the week, and it's the last slide. And hopefully it works, because it works like every third time we do things. HBO released a brand new trailer for Game of Thrones. This isn't a movie trailer, we know, but it's a trailer.
It might as well be a movie though.
At this point,
this
this
is a movie quality series.
Basically,
I mean,
what has happened is Game of Thrones came out and said, we give every episode like a movie's budget or something like that, and all that stuff. And then now, like, Walking Dead comes through and Westworld comes in and says,
like this
oh,
look,
we're going to do
John,
that
okay.
now. And then Game of Thrones says, all right, well, now we're going to do 3 times as much, and we're going to do hour-and-a-half episodes. And all that.
I swear part of this dialogue has to be John talking to Danny, because he's like, it used to be our
Well, the beginning is Baelish. talking
no,
to
but
this-
later
talking-
on
I
it's
see what you're
John. It
saying.
sounds like he's talking to Danny about our families used to fight against each other. Now we need to fight with one another.
Yeah. But just this idea of her,
Dragons. Look at the budget for the dragons this year.
the idea of her landing in Storm's Reach. What's the name of that castle?
Oh my
Dragons.
gosh. You have to come
I'm
back
all-
to me. Dragonstone.
Dragonstone. Just the idea of her landing there first has got to be such a moment on the show, because it's 6
Ironborn
seasons.
coming to.
Yeah, it's 6 seasons of George R. R. Martin's. Oh, things will happen eventually, and we're getting to that point where things are going to happen. I mean, we get to see her make landfall on Westeros, and that I think is going to be an amazing.
Yeah,
scene.
there was a couple shots back. It was John the Hound and Beric Dondarrion, to do with the flaming sword.
Yeah.
Sitting on, like, it was probably the Fist of the First Men, where the first the big attack happened. They're just surrounded by zombies, and they got their weapons out. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I mean,
Like that right there. Look
yeah,
at John.
John looks so good. The Brotherhood without banners looks so
Brotherhood
good.
Banners, yeah.
Um,
Well, their goal is to get there. It sounds like at least one of the spoilers for anyone who wants to stop listening. Spoilers. It sounds like that is the reuniting of, or it's going back to the call from last season where Barrick said, or maybe he didn't say it there, but they're going above the wall to capture one of these things, not to just kill them. They're going to capture it and take it back to King's Landing to let Cersei know, yeah, we got to stop this nonsense where we're fighting with each other. This is the actual fight. Because remember, the Brotherhood without banners, they worship the name. The name is non-pronounceable because even George Martin doesn't say it. R'hllor, the Lord of
I know what
Light.
you're talking about.
They all
Sounds
worship
like
him.
Sounds like a Lovecraft name kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, he's the Lord of Light. He's the Red Priests, all them. That's all that.
Yeah, July 16th that starts, and I actually think that WampaSlayer.com is going to do some post-show stuff on that. We talked about that earlier.
I know.
So that's going to be pretty cool.
I'm gonna try to get that day off if I can. And marathon season 6 with some people.
they're saying, hey, remember how we made you wait? Well, here's some cool stuff. But you still can't watch it yet.
And the other
Still a
cool
month
news
away.
is all the episodes are going to be at minimum about an hour
Hour or longer.
the finale is going to be close to 90 minutes long.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's a movie. You're watching a movie at that point, and that's amazing.
So that's July 16th, and that'll be awesome. On a lighter bit of news, Robert Downey Jr. posted a photo on just about every single one of his
It was so good.
just about every single one of his social media outlets, and it's really cool. So it shows
That kills
it shows Benedict Cumberbatch, Robert Downey Jr., Mark Ruffalo. I don't know why I started naming them because I don't know the name of Wong's character.
His real name is Benedict Wong.
Benedict. Okay. But it's really awesome that it shows all of them and heavy LaCroix endorsements
And Pellegrino.
But a couple of cool things that we can pick this apart because that's what you have to do when you do these kind of things. You have to what Chris Evans threw away 2 pieces of paper last night. What does that mean for Infinity War?
Or they showed an overhead shot of all the trailers on set. Well, we know that there's going to be a lot of trailers. There's confirmed like 30 plus people.
Look how many trailers. I'm like, half of those are
did you
Robert
see
Downey
the article
Jr.'s.
that there is a scene in the movie that's going to involve up to 30 different characters on it?
That's going to be amazing. But a couple things to pick apart. Number one is the idea of Benedict Cumberbatch in this almost battle-looking upgraded version of his outfit.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he won't wear, I would doubt he would wear the cape all the time because that's probably a very expensive piece of costuming. But that is not Doctor Strange's outfit that I'm used to seeing.
No. So, and then there's one thing that we want to zoom in on that has been the source of some intensity, which is just really funny when I was having to crop and examine that. But I'm like, Robert Downey Jr.'s face. But Robert Downey Jr. is wearing a shirt that has a hole in the center of it. And if you understand from Iron Man 3, he has had the arc reactor removed. I guess they've never really said anything about, like, he's still got a hole in himself.
We don't know, but because they never showed him outside of the armor without a different shirt on in Civil War.
But they did in Avengers 2.
Yeah, he had it. Wait.
He's
had
not
it
had.
again.
Well, I mean, he's had it. We already know that he's had it removed. That was part of of Iron Man 3. But there was a couple prevailing theories. Number one was that the stress of Civil War and whatever the events of Iron Man or of Homecoming will be has started the process of the shrapnel moving again.
They took it all out, I thought.
Possibly, or maybe they didn't because it's shrapnel. I don't know.
But we saw
I'm just talking about prevailing theories.
At the end, yeah, it's a theory.
It's true. It would be really weird if they just went, yeah, he's just. Still
I'm
got shrapnel and
thinking
he needs
it's
it back again.
trauma that caused it.
2 is the idea that his suit isn't powerful enough on its own to fight Thanos. So he goes back, puts the arc reactor back in himself to superpower his suit. The third, which was an interesting one, but might be a little far-fetched, is either someone gets the time stone or in part of whatever Doctor Strange has to do, he either sees back in time or reverses time and he's got that back in him. Which is an interesting thought, I thought.
I'm thinking trauma. Like something happens to him that nearly kills him, and the only way to really save him is to put another one of those in his chest to superpower his heart again.
No, it is completely possible that he's supposed to be wearing some kind of master suit and that it's mostly CG and we're not seeing the part that attaches. That's very, very possible. Being that we know even without the thing being in his body, everything's still powered from the chest.
The shirt has like padding going on. I don't even know what's that up here.
I don't know.
Is that an empty part of the? Is that his skin? Because it doesn't really look like it. Because it's like orange.
I don't know. You can see somebody's pulling on his shirt too, but that's
All it is a hand.
taking every photo, and we're just gonna
would it be a
dissect
hand
it down.
from that side. Because it looks like.
The thing right there is it's Wong's hands grabbing him.
No, I'm talking
Oh,
about this.
no, I think that's Benedict Cumberbatch's hand on his back,
Oh, okay.
like this.
Okay, I'm seeing. So I'm like, it can't be on this side because we see both of these hands, and one of them is an Asian guy, and one of them is Mark Ruffalo.
You know
He
what,
has
Chris?
Things in his hand.
Quadrant 2. Can we enhance that? No,
No.
no.
wait. We are a movie podcast. We don't have movie
we
technology.
can't enhance that. Oh,
We don't have the budget.
oh.
And
Well,
it,
in any
and it
case,
doesn't exist.
Just go to audibletrial.com/WobSlayer.
We might.
and we can enhance next week. Well, anyways, I think that's gonna about do it for us. Couple closing remarks. Don't go see Transformers because it's really terrible.
Not that we probably needed to tell you that, but
Oh, you already got it. Never mind. Whatever. I'm not.
he's the producer.
I'm
Let
not
him
usually the
produce.
host. So, anyways, thanks for everybody for listening and joining us again. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at thealien512 or Mike on the Twitter,
Oh, at the mics, WS the mic speaks.
and of course on Instagram at WampaSlayer or Facebook.com/WampaSlayer. But if you're watching us on YouTube, and I've always wanted to say this because I get to watch all these kind of things, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe for all of our podcasts
Maybe here.
and all new videos.
Comments
and all
go
that
here.
Kind of stuff. Comments go here. If you think we looked cool, if you think we looked like idiots, if we sound like something or we sound something stupid, comment. We'll talk about
We understand it's YouTube, but avoid. Try to keep the YouTube comments.
it. Just bring it.
Yeah.
Just bring it.
Hey, they're comments, right?
You guys stay frosty.